might fire them if they agree in the open. I just got to notice that cut off, so I'm going to go back. These days, about 50% of the population might agree, and about 50% might not. You know, talking about white people, because all blacks are in agreement, except for a few Uncle Toms here and there. They're probably in agreement. They're probably just trying to keep their heads down low for the most part, and trying to make a buck or two because they know how the system works. So there's this same cycle the world's on it, and this is apparently nothing new. But I just thought I'd put the story out there. I got a lot of stories, and they all, like much of my life, links to problems you guys see and have to deal with. So I've actually experienced a lot of this stuff. You won't get that with most suits. You won't get that with most people. I mean, the amount of life experience I've had is not common for city folk, because city folk are busy ants and they don't have time. But while I've lived in the city, I've never really been part of society. And society is never really wanting, like, the people have always been good to me, but the society and its workers and the system and its workers and its structure is almost always fail, and they tried to kick me in, and that was no problem. I mean, yeah, I'm not whining about it. I feel great that it has. I mean, it's done all these things to me, and I can relate to all this stuff that's going on. Even though, like, generally you see, like, each person has, like, one of these problems or something. I've dealt with most of it, so I understand where it's coming from. Many times on both sides, I can understand where it's coming from. That's just one of my stories. I've got who knows how much. I can't even remember my whole life. I mean, why remember stuff like that? That stuff just gets in the way. But there's other stuff too. Still haven't redone the video on schooling and what happens when you go to public school. So just leave it at that. I want to say that's one of the only times I experienced that type of hate crime stuff. Then again, I just mentioned schooling. I'd be lying if I said that, but I'll save that for the schooling video, because I dealt with a black teacher who, my best guess was she just didn't like me because I was white. And I believe that was exactly what was happening there. So it is what it is. And I will save that story for the schooling video, that's just a minor footnote, but it still is something when your teacher literally is stealing books you've paid for from you. And that's the opposite of what school is supposed to be there for. And if you have a book and you're reading it, it should be great. It should be a great thing. They shouldn't attempt to take books away from you at school. But apparently that's kind of not what school's for. It's kind of there to propagandize you. But I could probably talk about that topic a little more. I don't really remember what happened after that. You know, we was just 14. Life went on after we got out of jail and shit. And it wasn't nothing you could do. There really isn't nothing you can do these days, because the lawyers work with these people, and the lawyers are part of the system. They're never going to kick it. They do sometimes. You see a movie on TV, or, ooh, this person sued someone, sued the government because they did something. It's like, yeah, good luck. Or the Bundys got off after a year trial. Yeah, after a year of being shot at, and injured, killed, robbed, family destroyed, everything taken from them. They got let off. I don't even know the details, but apparently they got let off. There was something going on there. But good luck. Did you see how much that took for anything to even start? It took like the whole nation to come together. But again, that's what I'm saying. If we can get into positions of power, and I mean real ones, I don't think Senate and representative is going to be any sort of power. There's too many checks and balances, and they've already got it balanced in their favor. You have to be able to take control, and that's like kind of illegal. They've already set the system up. It was set up so in the first place you couldn't do that, but they said you would have to rebel to change the system. That's why the guns are legal. So you have all this stuff going on, but I really think the only way it's going to be changed is probably breaking some laws and or enforcing the Second Amendment laws. But to them, they have plenty of reasons that's breaking the law. They have plenty of laws that will apply to you if you attempt to use the Second Amendment to reclaim the government. They have all these laws that you're just a terrorist, big deal. Oh, you killed someone. Yeah, you're going to jail for that. Oh, you killed a terrorist. Oh, but it's a terrorist we love. You're going to jail for that. It's like, oh, you killed a terrorist in a suit. That's a real crime. I'm not sure how we go about getting some sort of militia or Waffen SS style, Judge Dredd style enforcers at the top who enforce the enforcers. That's really what needs done. But if you start to implement that, all these cowards have these laws in place, and they'll use these enforcers and their system to put you away. That's the people committing treason and subversion who have continually done that. They have the guns and the tanks and the bombs and the drones, and they have the jail cells, which are it's harder to defeat a large jail cell than it is a tank and a drone. Definitely a drone. A drone's easy to take out, I assume. Tanks probably not easy, but escaping from their holding cells they were designed to trap you in is, wow. Those cells are designed quite well in the cities to keep people in, or those people in there would have already gotten out. So when you get to the end of all this, of all the racism and the reverse racism and police brutality and the system protecting itself, they're all like protecting themselves, and they all have these systems in the way of the people being able to think for themselves and do for themselves. And it's just on so many levels. Hell, if you get locked up for some of this stuff, like let's say you think Patrick Little's real, let's say you think Trump's real, they could put these people in jail. They could put me in jail, and then they transfer you to the mental health ward, and then say goodbye to your mind, because they'll soup you up for sure with some cocktails, and they have that. I've done the video multiple times, and I've never published it because multiple reasons. Sometimes I think I should keep some information to myself, so I have trump cards. Like, especially with me running for office. I was going to ask you guys about this. Maybe you guys can say it in the comments, but maybe I'll do a whole nother video on it, just asking, what should be done. I have information I can put out there, and I have put out there, that is like kind of my own information, research I've done that exposes things that other people haven't spoken of yet. Well, kind of like the libertarian thing. No one discussed those were all Talmudic Jews. And Talmudic or not, it was basically, that's what it is. A Talmudic Kabbalistic cult. So I have other stuff like that I can put out. But these are like trump cards. If I can get the media to start discussing me and seeing that I'm better than these other fools fucking running for president. I mean, these are just suits and ties after their next dollar. They've never lived a life. They've never done anything. They don't care about other people. They care about themselves and their ego breeding. And I hardly care about myself. I don't really at the end of the day. Screw this world. It's the way I've always been. Never really cared too much about this world. And you can see that. You can see that. It's hard not to. If you're around me. It's hard to read people through a few videos on YouTube. But something needs to be done. And it's going to take more than just people saying, hey ho, let's go. They're going to kick and scream and attempt to destroy people. And like I said, I mean, I don't even think putting people in prison is like the worst they're going to do. If they put you in prison, they're going to do other things. I bet you if we could talk to Trafficking, we could get him to say they tried to put him through mental rehabilitation and all this stuff, and psych wards and stuff. They did try to convince him 2 + 2 is 3, right? He said they just wanted him to say he was guilty and they would let him go. And he wouldn't say he was guilty, so they put him in prison. So that was, 2 + 2 is 3, Winston. 2 + 2 is 3. And then when they put you in the psych wards, the drug cocktails are designed to destroy your mind. And they'll destroy your body as well. But they're also known for electrocution therapy and stuff like that. Again, I'm getting into this other video. I'm releasing my cards here. I'd like to save on these cards because I've got a lot of traps for these media people if they start talking to me. If I can get these people to talk to me about 2020 election, there's a lot of traps. And I didn't set these traps. These traps were set by the world. And just I was given the knowledge how to use the traps, how to spring the trap, so to say. They've always been in the trap. They've always been right there standing on a trap, but no one knows where the lever is to that trap. And I've got a lot of levers. I've got a lot of levers for the traps they're already all standing on. And I mean, that's like I was going to question. I wanted to question Little. Patrick Little. But I don't want to question him in an email. I don't want to give him these questions just so we can have time to come up with some sort of orchestrated response. When these questions come out, they are the trap. You either are in the trap or you're not in it, and it's not designed for you. So even with him, I've taken down. I've stopped writing stuff down in digital format to where these watchers could see, and I've taken to writing down certain things in journals and stuff because of the watching that's going on. I can tell that the ideas are getting out, but there are certain ideas that are still there. Like this could have been a trap I set up. Like what do you know? People are like, what do you know about all this? White people aren't oppressed. And it's like, well, now you know what I know. just a small fraction of it. Could be of importance to note that I probably, hell, around that time I might have went right back home to the ghetto and hung out with all my black friends. The gang police told me I was running. So it was just a matter of police brutality, steroid abuse, anger management problems. And this was like before, and this was even talked about as some sort of law. It was just people with an attitude problem. They got tired of the little kid telling them to fuck off, and that they were busy. The little kid's too busy for the old fucking man. Which is odd. I mean, if you want to know who this cop is, now let me give you a little detail. I met him later in life. I was selling drugs to a bunch of rich kids. Like where this happened, it was in like the richer white area. Like, I call this area is called Westerville. I call it like the whites who wish they were rich, but really aren't. And north of there is like where the real rich people were living. And, they own like ranches and shit like that. So one day, I was smoking weed with a bunch of kids and selling weed to them. And he like walked by the group, and I was like, dude, let's get the fuck out of here, like, to everyone. And like all these rich white kids were like, no, calm down, that's my dad's friend. And it's like, oh, no, he's not my friend. This dude's arrested me before. He's not my friend. He's an undercover cop. And they're like, yeah, we know. And like, he was there in the middle of this huge house party. I mean, I don't know how big this house party was. I just stopped by just to unload some drugs. I was invited by people to sell some weed. And all I know is there was a lot of kids just in the little area I was in. And then the whole area was huge. Like I said, these are like ranch style houses. And it looked like there's just kids all freaking over. So this undercover cop who had arrested me on these charges was at this party where clearly everyone, I mean, at least 50 kids, but I could say there was possibly hundreds of kids there. We're doing drugs. No one was over 18. I'm sure there's plenty of alcohol. But yeah, it's hard to miss the bong when you got the bong out and the cop walks right by you. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to jail pretty much. And they were like, no, dude, don't worry. But I still got the fuck out there. I just sold some product and got the hell out of there. But, yeah, isn't that interesting? See, the stories go on and on. But that's who he was. And arrest you because I'm an ego trip person, and then ignore you because you're my friend, because you're hanging out with my friends, and the hundreds of kids at this party doing drugs on my friend's lawn. I mean, we weren't hiding, we were all over the lawn. I'm sure the house was filled with people too. I didn't go in. Like I said, I stopped there and I talked with some people I know, did some stuff with them, and the cop walks by and is like, no, dude, I'm out of here. I'm seeing you guys later. And he actually walked by real fast. And so I wasn't there long at all. But that's that story. That's the end of that story. Isn't it nice? See, I totally forgot about that end of the story. I forget about all this stuff. I got a lot more stuff like this, but that's the way it happens, right? They don't really care about the drugs. They want to profit off it, apparently. They just want to show a display of force and make some money. Man, if I start talking about this stuff, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. I've got lots of stuff like this. Lots. talk about making enemies with Jews, I'm going to make enemies with Goyim as well, who are there. Basically, the enforcers are. I can't tell you for sure who that dude was, but he didn't look like a Jewish. In that town, technically, isn't a lot of Jewish, although some of them are, but I don't think a lot of them were. Anyways, that's the video, and I really think that some sort of police Judge Dredd type squad is going to be the only way we can work out of this. And whoever decides to implement such an idea, they're going to demonize that person hardcore, because the system's going to know that Judge Dredd squad is coming for them. It's only a matter of days or weeks before they wake up at 3 in the morning with a knock on their door, or their door knocking on the ground, most likely. So, I've already dealt with that stuff. I've already dealt with that. Long before it was cool and trendy to, for the system to start messing you up for doing that. It's just about a power trip. You want to control everyone, dominate people, and fuck them. Let's get this Judge Dredd squad going. We can reel in a lot of these people. The only problem is the power vacuum that will be left. Other nations they know it happens, and this power vacuum is a real threat to America. It's almost as much of a threat as the people who are controlling it, removing them, will create. But the power vacuum, I'm not sure where to go with that. I'm not sure what to do with that. I'm not sure who to trust. I know you can't trust anyone, so I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe you've got some ideas. Who should be on the Judge Dredd squad? Who should be filling the power vacuum when the Judge Dredd squad starts rounding up these people? Let me know. See you guys.